Probably the biggest question we get asked on our website, Endler Arc, is about endlers and about where they came from. How did they evolve? Are they guppies? Did they come from guppies? Those are all really interesting questions that science has been working on since the 1930s, or actually probably closer to 1975 when John Endler brought the first endlers back to the United States. But to start this off, it's not a topic really that can be covered in one video. We will probably break it up into a series of videos, and we'll start today with where they came from. As we know, endlers did come from guppies, and with any species at all, there has to be a catalyst for there to be a change. Sometimes the catalyst is a species ends up on an island. Sometimes they end up separated from the rest of the breeding stock. That's kind of what the case was with the Endler. And there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of disagreements with how things happen. Um, I'm under the I'm under the feeling that Endlers started in the early 1500s. Um, they came from Venezuela. The Spanish got to Venezuela in the early 1500s. And in the first 10, 15 years of the 15th century, they did a lot of things, mostly getting the area ready for colonization and all of that. But for the most part, it was all about the shipping and all about getting lagoons ready, getting harbors ready. Um, in the Cumana area of Venezuela, by Campona, there is a series of lagoons, and the lagoons at that time were brackish. They were connected to the ocean. They had fresh water coming in, they had salt water coming in, and it was just a brackish mix. The Spanish closed it off, and when the lagoon got closed off to the rest of the world, it put in a lot of dynamics that I don't think everybody's really thought about. You have nutrient-rich water, fresh water flowing in with no escape. You have no seawater coming in, so the saline has gone down, down, down. You have an area that has constant floods. You know, every year during the rainy season, there's floods and there's things going on. The organic material that comes into the lagoon really had no place to go. And just like an aquarium, when there's lots of organic material, algae grows. So what happened to the lagoon of the ducks, but it's in Spanish, what happened there was turned pea green. And when the lagoon turned pea green, it set in a lot of dynamics that made it so there had to be change. First dynamic, guppies breed, they gang rape. So a group of males will follow a female and just persist and follow it and push and push and push until one of them or more of them get to breed with her. Um, when the water is pea green, that doesn't work anymore because the males can't see the females, especially the females, because there's no color in them. They can't see them. So this fish had to evolve. And what they ended up doing is the bit of polymorphic traits that guppies had were enhanced in endlers. And the endlers soon realized through attrition that the brighter the colors, the more iridescent the colors, the more the females then could see the males. And what ended up happening was the breeding and the behavior actions for sex with endlers changed because the females did want to get pregnant, but they couldn't be hassled because the males can't see them, couldn't follow them. However, the males could do a dance. They could get in front of a female. They could let the sun reflect off of them, and the females could accept them. And that is what happened. And the males with the most color were the ones that got to breed. The ones with the most iridescence were the ones that got to breed. And that's kind of the traits of a polymorphic animal. But they took it actually one step further, which is really interesting. When the researchers in 1975 got to the lagoon and they started looking around, they found what we now call black bars. They're red. They have a black bar on it. It's a kind of Endler. They found lime Endlers. They found red Endlers. They found Endlers with blue in it. They found Endlers with yellow in it. It was, to them, it was all different species at that time. But what was really going on is through this development of color, you would get a group of females, just like a group of lions. The females would pretty much be born and they'd stay in a 10 square yard area their whole life. But the males would move around. So the researchers would come and they'd go to an area and it'd be all lime green. So they would find, get the lime greens out and do their thing. They would come back 2 or 3 years later and they'd be all different colors. Red bars, black bars or yellows. Didn't really know why at the time. But what we do know now is you have a tank full of red males with females and you put one lime in that tank, all the females will try to breed with them. That's what was going on. The new guy on the block was coming in. That color would take precedence, and you would see it impact the entire area. The thing that's interesting, as you may know or maybe you don't know, Endlers, like guppies, they carry sperm. So a female guppy, female Endler, can be bred up to 7 times, and they store the sperm in packets. They could actually have packets of sperm from males that are, each one of them is a different color. And the sperm does not get mixed. So they could have a batch of red bars, they could have a batch of yellows, they could have a batch of greens at different times. So it takes 7-8 months for the females to exhaust all the extra sperm that they have for there to be a major color change in that area. So that's one of the things that really made them unique. And the polymorphic nature and the fact that they were in lime green water gave them the vibrant colors that you see that honestly are not like anything else, not like any other fish. I would say inch for inch, Endlers are the most beautiful and colorful fish in the world. And the fact that none of them are the same, that they're all different, and they go through an array of colors, just makes it that much more appealing to have them as pets. They are, in many ways, the perfect nano pet. Now, when the researchers look at my theory about the Spanish and about what's going on, it always comes back the same. It comes back, well, how could that be? Because that's only 300-400 years. They need millions of years to evolve. That's where I don't agree, and that's where I think that they are wrong, and I think they're starting to realize that now. You have Endlers, which have a generational life of less than a year, as far as a pure generation. They're breeding at 3 months. They're having babies every 25 to 29 days, depending on which ones you have. So for them, a generation is not like for us. It's not 80 years, 75 years. It's months. So 300 years is a lot of months. And I think that they did have time to change. We have done some experiments in-house at Endler Ark, one of them being temperature, because Endlers are tropical. They can't really go into the cold areas. They don't do well at 55 degrees or below. So an interesting thing that we worked with then is we decided to see how long would it take to have them adapt or evolve into one that can last in colder water. And it's been very interesting. We have Endlers now that can live and breed at 55 degrees, which even guppies, you can't do that. So it's very, very interesting. And I think that the case can be made that the ability for them to adapt, to change, and their short gestation period and their short generational period are all things that really indicate that this probably could have happened. I was reminded by one of the professors I work with at San Diego at UCSD Riverside that There's a fish in Alaska called a stickleback, and the sticklebacks were brought into an area that was a new formed island, and they evolved within 15, 20 years. So it's shown that it doesn't have to be a million years for evolution to take place. But there was other things that happened with the Endlers. You know, guppies at the end of their sexual organ have 3 hooks. And they have 3 hooks because they are raping, and they have to have a way to hook on and stay on. Endlers didn't need that. So that started to go away. So in more and more pure Endlers, you do not see 3 hooks. Sometimes you see 1, sometimes you can even see 2, but you rarely see 3. So I think that's another indication. The other thing that fascinates me is the behavioral changes. So we have guppies who the females run from the males. Males have to chase them to gang rape them. And then we have Endlers. Now the Endlers are different. If you watch a tank of Endlers, the males are showing in front of the females. They're not just chasing them. And when there is a chase going on, it's usually only 1 or 2 males at the very most. But that's a behavioral change that is, well, I think it's a positive behavioral change, but it's something that has to be attributed to something. And, you know, Endlers being different is what it was. The iridescent colors that Endlers brought when they first got into the United States, and this is a topic that we'll go into further detail on, as far as who brought them in, where they went to, who distributed them, and where true ones really are in the country right now. But the manner that they came in was so in tune with guppies that they were used to enhance the guppies and to bring some of that vibrant colors. And I think if you remember back in the 70s and the 80s, when all the new colors, just crazy colors for guppies came in, that is all from Endler influence, which I think is really kind of cool. But true Endlers, Kumina Endlers, which are the Endlers that are truly polymorphic. When you put a tank of Endlers, you take 3 females and you put the 3 female Endlers in a tank with guppies, they'll get bred. You take 3 virgin guppies and you put them in a tank with Endlers, and they don't get bred as fast. It takes a while. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is they think different. The females think different. And that's something that behavioral wise, if you don't have Endlers and guppies, if you're not familiar, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. So that's one of the things that it's what makes them unique, and it's what really makes them better in a lot of ways to me. As we go forward, I'm anticipating that there'll probably be about 12 videos on the history of Endlers, breaching all the topics, not just what we've just started on, but breaching all of those. In particular, we want to really emphasize a little bit on the food differences. Endlers and guppies can eat the same thing for sure. There's no doubt about that. Endlers are a little more carnivorous than guppies. I think it's because they stay close to the top, and insects are just something that was a natural for them, and it's something that they could actually see when they were developing in the lagoon. Most of our videos should be out on Mondays for Endlers. So look for the next video. I will be posting a list of the videos that are coming and the dates that they should be released. That'll be at the end of this video. And I look forward to talking more Endler talk with you. Thanks. Bye-bye.